corporate social purpose in motion. Here are some key reminders. Please share your location in the chat box. If you would like to, we would appreciate it if you could turn your video on. And during the event, please feel free to send questions in the chat. Our video is recorded during the speaker sharing. Please interact with your peers, and feel free to stay until the end because we will have a group photo with some perks. Thank you so much again for joining our event. About PIM, PIM, short for Purpose in Motion, is a social enterprise that empowers young people with the education, resources, and networks to become mission-driven leaders and effective change makers. Here are some photos from our past events. And throughout 10 years, we have achieved really impressive impact. So over 13,000 aspiring leaders have participated in over 50 of our programs, and over 110 countries were reached via our online or offline programs. And we have mobilized over $850,000 US to organizations and startups. So this is our 10th anniversary this year, and we are having a series of celebration events. So you can visit www.pimglobal.org/celebrations for more information on our 10th anniversary events. And you can sign up for our newsletter to stay tuned for monthly 10th anniversary events like today's. And we would welcome if you could share your stories, your interested topics, or nominate speakers for our future events. So today's speaker is Iris Liu. Iris is a social entrepreneur and ESG subject matter expert who is known for her contributions to sustainable development, ESG policy analysis, and advocating for business practices that positively impact society. She currently holds a bachelor's degree in economics and a Master of Public Administration degree from Columbia University. As the co-founder of XianSheng Lab, through advocacy, research, and training programs, Iris is at the forefront of empowering enterprises in mainland China to embrace social and environmental responsibility. She was recently chosen as the China representative for the 2024 OML 1 Million Leader Sustainability Fellow and was a finalist in the 2022 Kellogg Morgan Stanley Sustainable Investing Challenge. She received the 2019 UNDP Entrepreneurship Outstanding Award, and she served as an APEC Youth Delegate in 2018. So I will hand it over to Iris. And we will get into the core of our event.
Thank you so much, Rowan. Thank you so much for Purpose in Motion for having me today. Give me a quick minute to share my screen really quickly. Can you all see the screen now? Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Welcome in, everybody. I'm super excited for today's event. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to friends and colleagues from across the globe. It's my great pleasure to be here today to lead this workshop titled Driving Impact, Corporate Purpose into Action. First, let's start with a brief introduction to give you some of the background of who I am and what drives my passion in this field. So, as Rowan just mentioned, my name is Iris, and you could say that I currently play three roles that coexist in harmony. In my full-time role, I mostly dive into the corporate world, aiding public companies to grow their sustainability initiatives and improve their policy frameworks. Outside of this, my part-time work involves mostly volunteer research. And in 2021, that's the time when I co-founded the XianSheng Lab, which is a platform committed to advancing business for good concept and also nurturing the growth of social enterprises. This journey has been over the last 5 years and has always been my commitment to sustainability and volunteering. And that leads to my long-term goal of ultimately advocating for sustainability and making a difference in global issues wherever possible. Now, turning our focus into the organization behind this XianSheng Lab. So our team consistently engages in nonprofit activities related to research, advocacy, and consultancy. And the core work is to promote sustainability, champion the business for good concept, and also help develop social enterprises, as well as creating shared value for all. In 2021, so in the very beginning, we mostly operate as a volunteer social group, while in 2021 we renamed ourselves to officially XianSheng Lab, which in the Mandarin meaning the first one to echo. So this new identity kind of reflects our determination to lead the way in sustainability discussions even during difficult times. Our global mission for the organization is to catalyze societal change, raising the visibility of businesses that contribute to global improvement and sustainability. We've made some significant progresses and key achievements in recent years, particularly in the Mandarin speaking community. We have a collaboration with Creating Shared Value Hong Kong and the US to translate the purpose playbook, which is the main one that we'll be focusing today, that highlights the paths for socially beneficial business practices. And furthermore, we also published other materials such as the business handbook, illuminating the paths of business for social good, which is currently available only in Mandarin, but will be released in English shortly. We're also in the process of collaborating with another global nonprofit organization called Catalyst 2030, and in the process of translating the Catalyzing Collaboration report to also help promote global collaboration and innovation. So moving on, switching gears to today's focus. We're going to talk a lot about purpose today, but what is purpose? We all interact with the concept of purpose in our daily lives, I believe, whether it's a mission we strive for, a goal we aim to achieve, or simply like a core value that guides us. However, the key areas and essence of today's workshop is to explore this concept in the context of business operations. We aim to delve into what makes a purpose not just meaningful, but truly worthwhile for a company. We will uncover some methodologies that can be applied to integrate purpose effectively into business practices and also to bring these businesses to life. We'll look at some tangible examples to give you a bit of a background that demonstrate how purpose can be a driving force in successful business operations. Our focus will be on these critical questions to understand and implement purpose in a way that benefits both the business and the broader community it serves. Before we dive deeper into the heart of our topic, let's take a moment to take an overview of the foundational work underpinning this project. So as you can see from the screen is the XianSheng Lab in partnership with Creating Shared Value Hong Kong. We have together conducted in-depth research into the concepts of shared value and company's purpose. And a significant outcome of this collaboration is the translation of this main guide, the Purpose Playbook. The right-hand side is the one that translated in Mandarin. And today we'll be exploring some of the key concepts and actionable insights from this playbook, providing you with some practical tools and strategies to bring purpose to the forefront of business operations. In today's workshop, we'll be navigating basically through four integral parts. We'll begin by exploring how to declare a purpose for a company, examining its fundamental elements and significance. Following this, we'll dive into the three pivotal aspects of contemporary business, that those are strategy, operations, and people. And I'll guide you through on how to infuse purpose into each of these areas, demonstrating how it can enhance the sustainability and impact of businesses. And our journey will not only define purpose, but also illustrate how it acts as a cornerstone, especially in transforming business practices for the better. So diving into the very first part. To elevate the impact of purpose and unlock its full potential, it's really crucial to understand what renders a purpose truly worthwhile. We define a purpose as a company's core reason for existence, one that not only addresses societal problem, but also generates significant financial value. For a company to be genuinely purpose-led by our definition, its purpose must go beyond being generic or solely customer-focused. It should technically tackle and some unmet societal need or doing things to help dealing with the company's strategy, operations, people, while creating measurable benefits for both the company and the society. So how do we do this? To craft a purpose that is both effective and transformative for your business and the wider community, these are 4 guidelines and key areas that I would like to mention. The first one being be significant, which means you aim for a purpose that contributes meaningfully to some unmet social needs, aligning with some global initiatives such as the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. That's for being significant and generating a greater impact. And also be authentic. Authentic meaning to ensure the purpose is ingrained in the company's culture. For example, having historical roots is visible throughout the operations, and avoid any strategies that contradict the stated purpose, which means also maintaining a consistent and genuine approach. The third one is being profitable, a purpose that also fosters meaningful profit incentivizers, which incentivizing companies to deeply comprehend and address social environmental issues, encouraging substantial investments, partnerships, and also efforts to scale their impact. And the last one is being serious. Taking commitment at the leadership level is always the most important part, as well as some senior leaders being held accountable for realizing the company's purpose, influencing performance goals, and ideally also connecting with people's remuneration. So having established what constitutes a good purpose, it's crucial to also recognize the 5 key elements that bring purpose to life within an organization. The first one in the very middle of this graph is leading with purpose, which means guiding the company based on a reason for being that not only addresses societal problems, but also generates significant financial value. And the second important element is culture, which is the surrounding square that's underlying everything of the social order or of the organization that shapes culture, always shapes its attitudes, behaviors, and values. So in purpose-led organizations, there is a shared ambition to address both business and societal challenges, fostering an environment ripe for innovation, risk-taking, and collaboration. So with the purpose as the guiding force in the very middle, and the culture providing a supportive foundation, basically underneath every single thing in the organization, the remaining 3 elements, strategy, operations, and people, would technically naturally align together to drive the organization towards fulfilling its purpose. With leadership stands as core, ensuring every strategic decision and operating action contributes to the overarching goal, and people within the organization embody and enact these values in their daily work. So together, these elements create a cohesive and powerful framework to realize a meaningful and impactful purpose. And building on to the 5 key elements, we can kind of extend our discussions to the 9 practices that's also essential for actualizing purpose within an organization. We will dive deeper into each and every one of these categories. Basically, there are the 3 main parts we'll be talking about: strategy, operations, and people, as well as there are 3 elements underneath each of every category. We'll quickly explore this in detail and diving into their implications for businesses and illustrating them as well as with practical examples. So the very first part, strategy. Strategy is the primary focus is basically on identifying sources for differentiation by addressing the societal needs and thereby fostering a more sustainable business environment. Under the topic of strategy, we concentrate on 3 pillars through this methodology. They are opportunities identification, source of distinction, and strategies, goals, and resources. We'll be going through each and every one of them in detail. So the first one, opportunities identification. The goal is basically to prioritize your social and environmental opportunities that align with the unmet societal needs that you identify, thereby creating a positive impact to your business. This involves, for example, employing tools like materiality assessments, enterprise risk management frameworks, as well as there's more and more talk nowadays about the ESG, environmental, social, and governance assessments. These are all the tools that companies can utilize to help inventory opportunities and risk from a societal perspectives. It's also crucial to, for example, regularly review the market research, such as customer surveys, innovation periodicals, trend reports to strategically link your company activities with the social and environmental challenges. So let's look at some practical example. The first one is about Nestle. It's a quite long paragraph, basically talking about the company using an extensive materiality analysis. Materiality analysis helped the company to identify the most significant economic, social, and environmental issue for the business and especially for stakeholders. So the concept of creating shared value and utilizing purpose for the company Nestle is on its operational ethos, ensuring long-term success by generating value for both shareholders and the society. The company's initiatives are focused on three core impact areas, which they identify as material. For example, individuals and family who trust their products and brands, the communities in which they operate, and as well as the planet Earth. That's the first example. And to look at another one, PayPal. PayPal is mostly utilizing its opportunity identification on technology and scale, because we all know PayPal is like a very wide global payment system. So its innovation in technology and scaling the impact is very significant. And it's great to see that the company identified this as their opportunity aimed to enhance the financial health of billions worldwide. So in the shift towards a cashless society, which is aimed to be, with the proliferation of mobile phones, the company PayPal recognized an opportunity to innovate alongside its partners. The collaboration has facilitated development of affordable, convenient, secure, as well as user-friendly financial services for the emerging market of underbanked and especially underserved customers. So these are the examples of demonstrating how identifying and leveraging social and environmental opportunities can actually lead to substantial business growth and societal benefits together at the same time. The second pillar under strategic is identifying sources of distinction, which basically meaning distinction means that something that sets your company apart from your competitors, but also while setting yourself apart in the competition, also integrates societal impacts into the core of business value creation. These opportunities should be deeply embedded within the business model. This approach involves starting from the prioritized opportunities identified earlier. From this list, for example, pinpoint where your company can achieve differentiation and a competitive edge by addressing social issues with your unique assets. For example, if you're doing mostly manufacturing, can you find, for example, reliable raw material supply chain or a dedicated workforce from untapped employment pools? Evaluate if there's a need to develop or acquire new assets to leverage its opportunities to achieve higher efficiency as well. Let's look at some examples. This is one of the good examples that I really, really like. It's about the National Australia Bank, the NAB. The bank basically realizes its financial success would also be deeply rooted in its financial health of its customers being very pivotal. So to better improve the financial health of its customers, the National Australia Bank has started this hardship program called NAB Assist, which is offering specialized support to individuals who are struggling with loan and mortgage repayments, or if they're facing risk of default, eviction, or enduring any debt cycles. So these challenges faced by the customers technically not only affect the customers' health and their families, but also impact the bank's financial performance because the customers are the one who are taking loans and doing those defaults by risk. So by improving the customer's welfare, the NIB assist actually creates a shared long-term benefit. 97, there's some data showing this. 97% of the customers aided by the NAB Assist program returned to good financial standing within 90 days, within 3 months, and which in turn actually saves the bank over 90 million annually. So this is a very vivid example to illustrate how focusing on social benefits can lead to significant business advantages. The third pillar under strategic is called strategies, goals, and resources, which basically means align the company purpose and aspirations with building certain strategies, goals, and also allocating resources effectively. It's crucial to identify, address any negative impacts or tensions arising from the current practices, and also to establish a governance process that ensured integrity and advancement of shared value initiatives. The companies in this certain area, there are some examples. For example, if the company mostly focusing on products and services, it's good to look at how existing product and services can be adapted, or if new ones should be developed to meet some social needs while opening new market opportunities. And as well as refining productivity in the value chain to find ways to improve the company's efficiency and effectiveness in the production process, which could also potentially lead to cost savings and better resource utilization. A primary example that I want to share here today is the practice of CVS Health. For those who are not really engaged in the US or the Western world, CVS Health is basically like a local pharmacy, but technically it's a national brand which spread across the US everywhere. Mostly people went there to pick up drugs, pick up pharmaceutical materials. Sometimes when your hospital give you subscriptions. So I know a lot of the audience today are probably from mainland China. So a lot of times we pick up pharmaceuticals just from the hospital. However, a lot of the Western areas, you pick up your specific subscriptions from this CVS Health, which is like a local pharmacies that's spreading around the country near you. So a specific thing that they did here is to stop selling tobacco products in 2014 and has also stopped selling vaping devices. This strategic move was kind of in line in the company's purpose of helping people on their path to better health. However, despite the potential loss of around 2 billion in sales, the decision had a significant public health impact, contributing to a material decrease in cigarette smoking in the markets, where we all know that actually cigarette smoking is a very substantial contribution to a lot of the mental as well as physical health issues. And this action not only helped improve public health outcomes, but also enhanced the CVS strategic positioning, demonstrating the power of aligning business strategies with a meaningful purpose. That's all for the strategy part. Now let's turn our attention to the operation side. Operations, which basically meaning the primary goal is to connect companies' activities, methods, and approaches to external conditions that reflect unmet social needs and barriers to business success. Similarly, under the topic of operations, we have concentrated on 3 pillars: innovating for scale, new models of operation, and measurement and reporting. Now let's talk about them one by one. The first one, which is the fourth in the overall 9 practices, innovating for scale. It falls under the operations and emphasizes the importance of embracing an open innovation process, which aims to understand the challenges and opportunities from the perspective of those who might be mostly affected, as well as fostering solutions that emerge from collaboration efforts. To initiate this, some practice advice would be adopting an outside-in mindset, basically looking from outside your market and introducing your strategies inside the company for operations, focusing on understanding the innovation problem or opportunity through the eyes of those impacted, such as supply chain workers or your underserved communities. Let's consider some compelling examples as well. The first one I would like to share is the Enel. It's an Italian utility company. Basically, the most notable thing from the example is its establishment of the Open Innovability Platform, which combines the company's innovation strategy and sustainability. But also, this initiative and the digital platform has led to collaborations on thousands of innovative projects, both internally and externally, and transforming the energy sector, which the company was primarily in, and scaling successful solutions across different regions and markets. Similarly, another company called Abbott, it's also in partnership with its market participants, Rwanda Ministry of Health, and also in the Society for Family Health in Rwanda. It's revolutionizing primary care and diagnostic in rural Rwanda areas. So as part of this initiative, Abbott did was to develop some prenatal rapid tests tailored for resource-limited settings and also funded constructions of advanced health posts. The company is also conducting a pilot to assess the improvements in care, health system integration, financial sustainability, and the potential for operational scale-up. So Abbott is aiming to showcase the value of replicating this health post framework to enhance especially accessible, high-quality healthcare service across the globe, especially in Rwanda and potentially for other nations. So these are examples highlighting how actually embracing open innovation as well as prioritizing scalable solutions can also lead to substantial and sustainable impacts, both socially and environmentally. Now moving on to the fifth practice, new models for operation, which mostly emphasizes the importance of assembling necessary players, resources, and systems to create shared value in innovative and unforeseen ways. This approach is based on the conviction that true partnerships and fresh collaborations are crucial for the success of shared value and business purpose initiatives. Let's also look at some examples. This is a very familiar company for everyone, the Walmart. This relatable example is telling us the work of Walmart tackling the inefficiencies in the US recycling system. They initiated this collaborative fund, which also known as the Closed Loop Fund. It's a pretty evident name as to me, because closed loop basically meaning in your home manufacturing, how you can close loop on your overall recycling, as well as raw materials or value chain generations. So this collaboration initiatives has included companies, banks, municipalities, and NGOs that combine their social and expertise to address gaps in the recycling value chain. These initiatives range from enhancing curbside collection, basically collecting from trash can on the side of the road, to as well as improving materials processing and manufacturing, which is more integral to the manufacturing process. This effort not only reduces waste, but also enables cities to generate more revenue from selling recycled materials, while the companies benefit from the returns on investments and the integration of reclaimed materials into their supply chains. So that's a great example illustrating how new models of operation can actually also lead to significant environmental and economic benefits. Now, moving on to the sixth practice under operation is measurement and reporting, which is, I can basically understand it's a topic that has gained much more significant attention, especially for everyone who is here today. Both can observe and see the global increase in this climate disclosure regulations. So we've seen a lot of the practices around measurement and reporting, which revolves around determining the business and social outcomes of your initiatives, understanding their interconnections or any reinforcing efforts, and also analyze these outcomes to inform future strategies and operations. So some examples, apart from simply doing sustainability reporting that a lot of companies have already been doing, some different examples I'd like to share today, including the same company, Anno, which is the utility company from Italy. They did a proprietary digital management platform, which basically is a central internal resource for them to monitor and integrate shared value and sustainability across its entire value chain. This technology grants the company global visibility into local initiatives and also enabling it to measure project impacts, share the best practices, and report on key milestones to investors and other shareholders. On the other hand, the company we're all very familiar with, Nestle, they're doing a slightly different areas on impact evaluation. They are among the first one working with external experts to create and publish its first methodologies for measuring both the societal impact and business value generated by their initiatives. Their impact evaluation is under the Nestle Global Youth Initiative as well, which includes factors such as labor productivity, increased sales, talent retention, employment, and also initiated a wild round of public dialogue on the most effective ways to measure shared value. So these are the examples that underscore the critical role of measurement and reporting, not only simply from doing, for example, ESG or sustainability reporting, but also tracking and improving through, for example, digital platform and global collaborative initiatives as well. Now moving to the next and final section of the three main pillars, the critical aspect of people. A lot of times company success are primarily based on actually its talent and people who is contributing all of this. So these practices and policies related to a company's workforce, which is pivotal in enabling, empowering talent to innovate and redefine business operations. It is for sure through people that the essence of purpose and shared value truly comes to life, as they are the ones who's driving the change and also actually implementing the company's mission. So very, very similarly under this topic, we'll also concentrate on three pillars: their organizational design, talent acquisition and development, as well as engagement and communications. So under the people umbrella, the first pillar and the seventh practice of our playbook is called organizational design. It's a very straightforward terminology, basically about creating structures, roles, and relationships, and processes that foster collaboration and co-creation across various functions and sectors. When appropriate, this also extends to working with competitors, civil society, government, and other relevant stakeholders to enhance the shared value creation. So to look at some of the examples, Novartis, which strategically position itself in the shared value initiatives within their, they have a specific business unit called Novartis Social Business Unit, the NSB, which is technically not a public unit inside the company, but more like a semi-autonomous entity that is actually insulated from the mainstream business of the company's margin. But it's mostly contributing to incubating, implementing, and scaling their shared value projects, such as the Arogia Parivar, this is a very hard name to pronounce, as well as Novartis Access. They have also established a separate unit in underdeveloped communities and regions. For example, their dedicated Sub-Saharan African unit to develop their shared value models with a specific geographical focus, while also reinforcing this company-wide commitment to sustainable and medicine access. Similarly, the other pharmaceutical and healthcare company, Eli Lilly, it has, in terms of the organizational structure, it has established a specific role of Director of Global Health Shared Value Initiatives. which basically a leader in the company overseeing projects that align with the Lilly 30 by 30. This initiative technically reflects the company's commitment to enhancing access to quality healthcare for over 30 million people annually by 2030 in resource-limited settings. This director is tasked with identifying and implementing projects that expand access and to Lilly's medicines and explore new treatments for disease-prevalent resource-scarce areas. That's about the organizational design, and moving on to the eighth practice, talent acquisition and development, which is also very straightforward, basically seeking and nurturing people's talent, cultivating the mindset throughout the organization. Some examples to look at so it's actually like during our research and the further look into these areas, it's very common to see pharmaceutical and healthcare company doing a lot of things related to purpose and creating shared value. For example, this is another example from the Merck's company, which is also a world-leading healthcare and pharmaceutical company. They have their internal shared value toolkit. It's internal resources designed to educate employees on shared value and encourage proactive engagement. It's an online on-demand platform, facilitates knowledge sharing, offering trainings and forums for employees to exchange their best practices, and also explore new ways to integrate social impact into the business. I would really encourage everyone who is interested to take a look at their website. I remember when we were later on developing our other business handbook, we have utilized some of the tools and referencing a lot of the shared value toolkit from Merck's as well. And the other example, apart from the healthcare industry, the Griffiths Foods, which is what they developed for developing talent, is they had this paid shared value internship program. Basically, they're hiring people from across the globe, immersed specifically in studying and testing shared value opportunities for the food product and development company. They received, for those talents who was acquired, they would receive specific training in shared value, and their research efforts were directly aligned with the company's goals as well, focusing on converting food losses into nutritional products. So these are some great examples highlighting the significance of aligning talent acquisition and development strategies with shared value objectives. And moving on to our very last and ninth practice in the book, we will explore today is engagement and communications. This is the practice emphasizing the importance of engaging with both internal and external stakeholders through a shared sense of purpose and commitment to shared value. The goal is to deepen and sustain its commitment by, for example, disseminating information, providing inspiration, as well as sharing relevant stories to resonate with the audiences. Some examples to take a look at, the very last example we'll take a look at today is Discovery, which is led by its founder and CEO, Adrian Gore. So their shared value is not just a concept, but also a cultural cornerstone inside the company, especially for the company's strategy, innovation, and business decisions are driven by its belief that by improving people's health directly benefits the society and also will enhance their business growth. There are a lot of the core values and shared value that we observe today are very much aligned and similar. For example, this one as well as the National Australia Bank. They mostly focus on looking at how to improve customer situation while also grow their own business. So this would also increase the company's competitiveness as well as the cost efficiency areas. So Discovery has taken its core purpose of making people healthier and globalized it through the vitality model. Its practices has influenced the entire insurance industry to adopt a shared value approach. And this model not only supports client health and wealth, but also extends to its partnership with 14 leading global insurers, impacting over 16 million members across 24 countries. So in conclusion, effective engagement communications are about creating narrative that not only informs, but also inspires and connects with people on a deeper level, which also demonstrate the tangible benefits of shared value in both society and businesses. So that concludes the knowledge sharing segment of today's workshop. I realize I've shared a lot of information, and I appreciate all of your attention and engagement through this session. Some special thanks are due to the research team from Creating Shared Value Hong Kong and Creating Shared Value United States, as well as the translation team at XianSheng Lab for their exceptional work and dedication in making these resources publicly available. So before we move on to the Q&A, I'd like to direct your attention to the one last slide that I have here. You'll find a QR code linked to my LinkedIn profile on the right-hand side, and I invite all of you to scan it, connect with me for any future discussions if you would like to have. And additionally, we're also very pleased and happy to offer the Purpose Playbook in full version that I mainly talk about the key areas today. We have two versions in both English and Mandarin, and it's freely accessible to those who are interested. So for those who are interested in getting access to the book or joining our research team or engaging in our volunteer activities or even exploring potential collaborations, I warmly encourage all of you to reach out to me either directly through LinkedIn or email. Now I'll hand it back over to Rowan, and I'm happy to open the floor for questions.
Thank you so much, Iris. Let me share my screen. So now we're at the Q&A session, and let's see what participants have asked. So Leslie asked, hi there, got a quick question for Iris. I work at a large corporation that doesn't have a big focus on providing for social needs, but I think it would be good to encourage my company to contribute more for our community. Do you have any advice for me about how to do this?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is a really, really good question. So a lot of time we observe this as well in a lot of companies. So basically, I think it largely depends on for the specific audience, which background are you coming from? If you're coming from like a more leadership role and you have more power to make strategic decision, a good way to look at this, first of all, happy to share this purpose playbook with you to look at the all 9 areas and practices for you to understand how to identify opportunities and understand how to use this resource allocation. Inside the book, we have very specific questions and practical guide for you to work through this. But some of the quick answers to give you here, I think no matter where you're coming from, a leader or like a more entry-level role, you could always look at what is the specific business areas you are working on and look at what are your target audience, what are the specific industry that you're focusing on. There's always certain alignment in between the industry that you're working on and what are the areas of problems that you're tackling. So for example, we can see the energy industry is largely impacting today's climate change materiality, as well as the global other sustainable development goals. So if you can find some key areas of problems that your company is dealing with, and then understand how to actually understand its materiality to your company. So some good of the tools to look at, as I just mentioned, to look at the ESG framework as well as the materiality frameworks to see some of the key areas of topics that's relevant to your industry and specific your company. Some tools included, for example, SASB, the Sustainable Accounting Standards Board, which is now actually incorporated into the International Sustainability Standards Board, but their toolkit is still available everywhere, as well as some of the rating agencies and index companies. For example, MSCI has their specific methodology for industries to identify your problems that are relevant to your company and industry. So I would highly recommend you to take a look at the Purpose Playbook as well, take a look at those online resources, and then see how identifying these material problems could integrate with your company strategy and push either from bottom up, if you're from a more entry level, to first help your managers and directors understand what is this direction going. And if you're from the top down, that's even better. You can bring this to the attention of the leadership, or even a higher level of the board committee, and help them understand whether this topic and problems are material to your business operations, as well as how you can build frameworks to evaluate the impact, as well as helping the company grow the business while solving these issues.
Thank you so much, Iris. Our second question that we have in the chat is, how would you advise other companies to also create a shared value internship?
So I think this technically is as I just mentioned, is technically like a more high level decision. There's a lot of ways for a company to encourage talent, because this question is specifically related to the people's aspect of the company. So there are, as we just talked about, there's three ways of either building through organizational structure, encouraging talent, or engagement and communications. So specific and shared value internship would largely depend on whether the company is specifically workforce and labor oriented. So if they are, they would have a much stronger focus on the workforce and the employees. So that's a better way for them to distribute certain of the budget to start this internship for hiring more people. Because technically, as the example that we saw today from the case, the company building this internship is technically training these people to think of the specific areas, innovative ideas, implementation methods for the Griffin Foods company under specific food development and manufacturing value chain. So which is not technically all applicable to all the businesses. So this will largely depend on the budget and the overall strategic decisions and orientations. But there are a lot more ways to also engage with talent. So if you're coming from a company, you can also look at the organizational design. For example, do you have specific directors of creating shared value? Do you have a specific business unit that is contributing to identifying problems and building tangible impact? And if you're coming from an employee's perspective, it's good to always align your own core value and purpose to your employer. So while you're looking for jobs, while you're looking for internships, if you're specifically interested in this area, it's good to start searching with these keywords, and also look at the company's annual report or sustainability report to see if the culture actually aligns with your aim and targets as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Iris. I think we can jump one question and then go to this question. What can we do in the semiconductor industry, specifically a supply chain area, to improve ESG performance?
That's a very good and technical question. So supply chain area, there's a lot of topics surrounding this. A very easy example is basically looking at your suppliers and how are they enhancing the ESG assessment into their daily work. So a lot of times that we observe issues from company is, for example, if a company highly focused on manufacturing, and if they're the midstream, a lot of times some legal or regulational issues we observe is that the suppliers did not meet certain type of business conduct, or did not meet certain the lowest wage regulations, or average wage regulations in the certain regions, or sometimes even child labor was introduced. I remember this legal case from probably around 9 to 10 years ago about Nike, which is now being resolved. But a long time ago, Nike has been in court and under this regulational screening and litigation efforts, because they have been found out that in their supply chain, a lot of the manufacturing workers are utilizing child labor, not giving enough wages, and do not provide a decent working environment. For example, a cleaning facility, as well as maintaining the health and well-being for the workers. So that's a very simple area to look at for especially ESG, the S area aspect. So if you're coming from a midstream and industry, to look at your suppliers, whether they have enough material, do they have business code of conduct for the workers? Do they meet the certain wage regulations for the areas? Did they utilize child labor? Do they have any other litigational risk? That's for specific S area. For environmental aspect, it's also quite straightforward. If your suppliers are meeting certain environmental standards, if their carbon emissions are aligning with your company goal. So I know a lot of companies from across the globe are meeting compliance of disclosing the scope 3 carbon emissions as well. So that would technically include your supply chain. So if you are obtaining materials from manufacturers, technically their scope 1 emissions of producing the material will end up in your scope 3. So that's a very good aspect to look at if their pollution aspect, waste and water retreatment, and the carbon emissions are aligning with your company target. And I know a lot of big companies are declaring their carbon emission reduction target. So also good to look at whether your suppliers are adopting measures to also reduce their emissions to also help your company meet your goal. And the governance areas to be really quickly, both internal and external frameworks. So if you have, for example, governance committee inside your company to manage your suppliers, and if you have integrated supplier risk into your enterprise risk management framework, those are all the areas and indicators that you can consider while dealing with suppliers.
Thank you, Iris. I know we're a little bit short on time, but this question that Jing asked in the chat is very valuable. I was wondering if you have any advice for students who want to build a career in sustainable development related business in the future. Maybe we can give some really quick tips.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So always keep the first is always keep updated to the industry. There's a lot going on in sustainability and sustainable development. There's a lot of new regulations coming out. There are new policies coming out. Companies are adopting different strategies. Always good to keep a good tap on those industry leading and trendy news as well as what's happening in the industry, and also build your skills revolve around it. For example, I know in mainland China, there's a strong focus on environmental aspect these days. So it's good to, when I was mentioning earlier about scope 1, 2, and 3, do you understand these terminologies? Quickly build your knowledge around these revolving areas. And then to look for, while you are into this employment period, when you're looking for job opportunities, it's good to, as I also quickly mentioned before, it's good to look at the companies that you're looking at. Are they aligning with your personal career targets and core values as well? If you really value sustainability, does the company that you're applying for and that you are aiming to work for, did they have any sustainable strategies implemented? Do they have a specific ESG or sustainability team? That could be potentially your aim of target to join and also aligning with your personal values and purposes. And also, apart from all of these, from keeping up with the industry, getting knowledge, building skill set, and looking for jobs, you could also, like what I've been doing so far for the last 5 years, you could always engage through a lot of other areas from remote or volunteer or doing research or independent research or joining seminars online to always engage with this realm, even though you're not technically full-time working for the same areas. But it's always good to engage. There's a lot of opportunities across the globe, different organizations such as the XianSheng Lab as us, but also a lot of other organizations. For example, the Purpose in Motion are also doing similar things. So if you're interested, always go to volunteer, join any of us, and contribute in events organizations, volunteering, or research, or all those advocacy areas as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Arias. And yeah, thank you all for these amazing questions. So after our Q&A session, we would like you to spend maybe 1 minute of your time to provide us with feedback through this forum. Since we're a little bit short on time, maybe you can scan it or take a picture of it and then provide us with feedback later in after this event. So now it's time for a group photo. Please turn your cameras on so we can take a group photo together. Uh,
Rowan, do you want to do a countdown?
yeah, sure. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Smile. Okay, thank you. So as you'll know, it's our 10th anniversary this year. So this is our April event, and we will have many more monthly events to come. And you're welcome to visit our website, www.pimglobal.org. We also have a dedicated landing page for our 10th anniversary events. You can find us on LinkedIn, Purpose in Motion, and we also have a LinkedIn group for our community members. It's called PIM Impact Community. It's public, it's searchable. You can also scan this QR code on the right, take a picture of it, scan it later or scan it now to join our LinkedIn group. Yeah, and we will be sharing some very helpful resources and events and information. Or you can email us at info@pimglobal.org. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this event, and thank you so much, Iris, for being our amazing guest speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.